Welcome back to the insanity that is Xtreme Asylum Wrestling. This episode has plenty of action. Plus, the story of my ironclad grip over the organization reached all-time highs. The extent of my power would be on full display by the night's end. 20 years ago, XAW was a proving ground where mayhem reigned, pain was given, and only the truly unhinged survived. It wasn't just a wrestling promotion. It was a battleground for the deranged. At the center of it all was Mrs. Armstrong, Darren Bradley, and myself, Dr. Sean Matthews. Each wrestler was an asylum inmate scouted by Commissioner Darren Bradley, but as a doctor of psychiatry, I had the power to allow one's participation or send them back to the asylum they came from. As the head proprietor, though, Mrs. Armstrong had the final say on anything that happened in the promotion. Since Darren and myself were also active participants, due to our prior backgrounds as wrestlers, she would often settle our disagreements. When everything is said and done, though, none of it could happen without my say-so, and I made sure everyone knew that. This is my story of Xtreme Asylum Wrestling. How it began, how it fell, and how it should have been. Welcome to the asylum. You'd have to be insane to do this. In preparation for our planned match, Crazy took it upon himself to dress in a way to mock me, as well as talking on the microphone as if he were me. I heard this while I was in the back getting prepared for the match myself, and quickly came out to put a stop to it. He had even stolen my glasses as part of the prank. This all definitely got under my skin, and frustrated me to the point that I did not have my usual clear and calculated focus.
Yes, he calls that crazy pissed off. Calls it an insane off to us. So far, pretty dominated the much smaller opponent in this match.
Underestimate
I don't know, he did actually just reverse that move. It's got everything to do with how much that Sean Matthews was in the gravity. He's going to have to say crazy, so let's start with crazy.
Hello? Took away this. See, I told you, the brain is wrong.
Yes, but sometimes brains need to step on
Laying the boot still, Dr. Matthews, helping Crazy out. Short drop, and hurts. Great.
Well, that's because Dr. Sean Matthews is a scientist. He knows the science. Each move with the maximum impact. That's a lot of that flying through the air, and then just, but nonetheless impressive, and just an absolute journey. I see dominated with the body slap through the doctor. It appears as if the doctor is all out on his feet. As Crazy sets him up on the Into the face. No one make appointments because the doctor is out.
Are you kidding? The doctor's in right now. He's bringing medicine. Soon, he will have breaks on his operating table.
Well, all I can say right now is the crazy is dissecting the doctor with unorthodox but very powerful moves, all of which are paying off to a great extent.
Crazy is a disease that the doctor will cure.
Yes, but you also
This is not my crazy doctor.
It looks to me like this live unit while being pummeled by the most larger and more aggressive crazy. You see the doctor gets out of the two count. Wasn't that actually formed up
professional wrestling. And we're halfway through this great match. As the doctor has managed to regain some man.
He's definitely going at crazy with authority. However, crazy immediately due to his great experience. He's setting up the doctor to get out of the movement. It appears that this is going to be quite painful. We might call
That definitely did not go the way I had intended. Crazy's unhinged mockery prank was not something I was not the end of Crazy's antics. As I laid there, only half conscious,
but that's all the things you have to say. Crazy. Would you like to talk crazy? Oh no, he's kidding.
Like that, baby!
After the pie attack, one of the referees and security guards helped get me up and remove the handcuffs. I was still fairly disoriented from the damage I took in the match, plus from the pie being all over my face, in my eyes, ears, and hair. Little did Crazy know, however. Once I was able to get cleaned up, his act of disrespect would send me on a warpath for the rest of the evening. Not only would he regret his actions, so would others in the locker room. The entire roster was about to see just how far my power in XAW could go, and there was nothing anyone could do about it. Any and all who opposed me would soon regret it. This match required some heavy editing due to unfortunate circumstances. I've preserved as much as I could, but it's missing big chunks of the action. Nails decided to align himself with Penance, Red Dragon, and the General. Their quest for the Tag Team Championships has been reset, putting them at the back of the line.
is the phone. I've heard it, man. I just.
I don't know if I'm going so far. What do you think about it, Mr. Slick? I think you're concentrating on the action. I don't know about that either, but let's go to the ring. Penix is in the ring right now with the new generation. They're circling around each other. Actually, it's actually a tag team.
Well, there we go.
Yes. So I go now, so I have to do the ring with Penix.
I'm going to go ahead. You know, if you get to the break, wait, they don't need to be a player. That's why they're so great. That makes us fight again. He's a genius. I love how you run business around the ring.
That is very possible considering he's outside of the ring. He couldn't hit the ring at any time. Havoc is however suffering from a stiff blow from Penix circling around, grabbing his head. Oh, a stiff throw into the turnbuckle.
Look at pretty hard. I'm in my garage in Nashville. The turnbuckle.
Yes, I think it's more than that.
With their win over New Generation, Penance and Red Dragon were now officially back in the rankings for the tag team titles, but they still had a long way to go. While getting cleaned up from Crazy's earlier antics, my plans for the night became even more clear. Rob Anarchy was already scheduled with Death Wish for a tag team match against Cyber and Azazel for their championship titles, so I convinced Mrs. Armstrong that he should defend his backyard championship against my orderly first. Plus, I would place myself at ringside to ensure I got the outcome I wanted. However, if the orderly couldn't do it without using a weapon, he himself would also have to face the consequences.
And the bell rings, we get this match underway.
You know, Gorilla, I've heard that Rob Anarchy has wrestled all over this country.
He has wrestled all over this country. He's actually quite respected by backyard wrestling legends such as the Insane Clown Posse, Christopher Daniels.
I heard he used to work on the Circle K circuit.
Yes, actually he did, but amongst speaking, Rob Anarchy is wrestling as he shows what he is made of with that stiff kick in the midsection. I'm sure everyone here would be happy to see Rob Anarchy put the orderly down to the 3 count. Already early in the match, going to the second rope.
Only the Orderly can come to his senses in time. Too late as Rob Van Anarchy connects with the drop kick off the top rope. Orderly discussing things with his mentor, pulling all that reservoir of wrestling knowledge from Dr. Sean Matthews.
It looked to me more like they were trying to figure out some way to cheat. As that's pretty much all that Sean Matthews and Orderly
Cheater
did.
would say. Elbows to the back of the head by the Orderly.
This has already become a heated match. The Orderly particularly vicious.
Rob locked with the man-pain armbar.
Anarchy soaking up a lot of punishment, but then again, when you are a backyard wrestling legend, punishment is the name of the game.
The Orderly is certainly keeping things ordered.
I'm telling you, Ninja Rob craves pain and body punishment. That's why he's involved in this. That is why he carries that belt. You
The
don't know.
Orderly, however, is a machine. The Orderly throwing Rob Van Anarchy. Trying to help Rob Van Anarchy.
Rob Anarchy, that's just a wake-up call for Rob Anarchy. He's trying to show these people just how far he is willing to go.
A good doctor told me.
Look at this, the Orderly going for the belt as Anarchy turns the table on the doctor on the other side of the ring.
Did you see him strike the doctor? Anarchy is spitting in his face.
Stiff belt shot to the side of the head.
Really admiring the belt. In no way thinking of using it as a weapon. Drop kick on Anarchy. Who goes through the ropes? He's laid out, folks.
The Orderly strutting around the ring with his belt. Of course, Ninja, you probably think he deserves that belt.
Of course he deserves that belt. He's going to follow in his footsteps.
You know, bringing Rob Anarchy back into the ring is the Orderly. Double undercut from the Orderly to Rob Anarchy.
The Orderly is a master of the four-sided circle.
Do you actually know anything about wrestling, or do you just open your mouth and talk and hope something makes sense?
I spent 3 years in Stamford, Connecticut. Bet you know coffee. I know plenty about wrestling. I know wrestling takes 2 sugars.
The champ comes down awkwardly as the Orderly throws him stiffly against the turnbuckle. But he doesn't take the time Ninja to capitalize on these moves. Instead, he chooses to brag about his accomplishments.
The Orderly is merciful, and he's trying to bring his crowd into the match.
Again. But nonetheless doesn't make it right, Ninja. As the Orderly sends Rob Anarchy flying with an impressive German suplex. It appears as if Rob Anarchy is indeed dazed. He doesn't know where he is. But he still manages to reverse the move of the Orderly into a DDT Ninja. That is what ring awareness is all about. Ring psychology, wrestling in one word. Can he get the 3 count? Long 2. As referee Slim Pickens pays careful attention to the position of the Orderly's shoulders.
Dr. Mack,
It appears, however, that the Orderly has turned the table as he goes for a tornado bulldog from the turnbuckle.
Edward Dixon doesn't like what he sees. He sees a alpha wrestler. He sees a backyard wrestler. He sees someone with no class.
I tell you who has no class, Ninja. It is that doctor standing right there on the side of the ring. All he does is get involved in matches, screwing hard-working wrestlers out of titles and gold they rightfully earn. You know nothing about wrestling.
The doctor has a great
says because of the way that the matches always go when he is out by the ring. Powerful, powerful slam by the orderly.
So the orderly, feeling the pain of his own movies, trying to shake off the cobwebs. He looks to the doctor for advice.
Protege once again conferring with his dirty snake of a mentor. I hear that Dr. Shawn Matthews is actually single-handedly responsible for the introduction of crack to America. That is how evil that man is.
But he is a necessary evil gorilla.
Fantastic.
Like crack rob and rule the way wrestling ring. If we let him do the things where the agony, our country will fall into that.
Rob Anarchy comes from a long line of wrestling legends. I think you know of who I'm talking about.
Yeah, the Squirrel Nut Zipper, the Lawnmower.
Who do you even speak the English anymore? The orderly on the second row. Irish maneuver. Paul Bull, the Irish maneuver. What happens when you get cocky like that, Ninja? He doesn't have his mind on where he is or what he's doing. He is only focused on being the orderly.
8 minutes into this match, the Dr. Matthews can't be happy with the way it's going for his protege.
I would say, though, anything that makes the doctor makes me very happy as the orderly is authoritatively monkey flips into the center of the ring.
Anarchy struggles to his feet. The only thing to look for in this match.
You can tell that Rob Anarchy is working from somewhere deep down in the keg. He's trying hard to get to his feet and to turn the tables of this match, and I just think that he might do it, Ninja.
People orderly
Trading
body
punches.
off. He can trim the hedges, but he's not going to defeat anybody who has been to a Dr. Matthews.
Rob Anarchy is going to put him at the bar again as he covers him for a long 2 count. Once again, proving why Shawn Matthews should be completely bad for ringside as he gets involved in the match.
Dr. Matthews was only defending himself. Rob Anarchy was going right towards him.
The orderly with the road shot, slamming it into the skull of Rob Anarchy. Rob Anarchy, though, this whole thing is forthright.
Orderly goes for a running elbow on the top of the side.
Very interesting high impact move from the orderly. The orderly proving with his use of the sign that he thinks as Rob Anarchy reverses the move. As these snakes in the grass start heading towards the backstage.
This isn't classy wrestling. This is backyard hardcore wrestling, which doesn't pay tribute to the quality of wrestling that has come forward.
Referee Buddy Pickens carrying the count. Anarchy taking it to the leg of the orderly. And Shawn Matthews, that evil, dirty man of a doctor, bemoaning the fact that his wrestler is on the receiving end of so much pain and punishment.
But this is what happens. The orderly is seeing what happens when you don't listen to the doctor's advice. He has a very, very careful plan, and the orderly will get to fruition.
No, I think that what is interfering with his plans is that no one counted on the fact that Rob Anarchy can soak up amazing amounts of punishment, as evidenced by him getting hit with that road sign.
Unquestionably, Rob Anarchy can also soak up vast amounts of water and still not break the money.
2 counts.
The orderly's got too much inside him to lay down.
Referee Slim Hackett making the count. Anarchy can't quite make the completion on the 3 count.
Anarchy on the top rope, you can almost count his red.
Once again, proving that high-risk maneuvers don't always pay off, and when they don't, they can affect the outcome of a match, Ninja.
What time? We're 12 minutes into the match. There's little time left for the audience to make something of the doctor's orders.
Yes, I'm told by the timekeeper, Ninja, that there are 2 minutes left in the regulation of this match. As the orderly once again turns the tables on Rob Anarchy and begins taking the fist to him. Oh. The headbutt didn't quite pay off like the orderly planned on it paying off.
Still, 2 minutes with the doctor's plan to unfold like the genius it is.
I tell you what, Ninja, if the doctor and his proteges would focus on wrestling instead of not wrestling and cheating to win, more matches.
I think it's right. Rob Anarchy also gave up his law in the business. He might put up any sort of semblance of a fight worthy of the good times.
Get up there. Get up.
Rob Anarchy signaling to go to the top rope. As the doctor once again gets involved, showing exactly why he should be at ringside.
The orderly throwing Rob Anarchy into the match. They drop off the back.
It is really unfortunate when you see a potentially good match ended like this.
With my help, the orderly was able to win the match and dethrone Rob Anarchy as the backyard champion. However, my assistance did not come without a test. Even though I handed the street sign to him, I still expected him to know that he should choose not to implement it, because he knew what he would have to do if he used a weapon.
Orderly, you know what we're talking about. You use a weapon. You aren't supposed to use it. I was testing you. If you use the weapon, you had to give me that item. Come on, give me that item. Orderly. You won't get me down. Give me that. Now, for those of you who do not know, any champion can rightfully pass off any title to the man he believes should be a champion. Orderly has just given me the backyard championship. Now, your new backyard champion, Dr. Sean Matthews.
A true champion, the doctor.
Since it's something the general audience wouldn't understand the deeper context of, when I turned to face the crowd on the left side of the screen, that was not purely coincidence. In fact, I knew that Rob Anarchy's own mother was centered in that side of the crowd, so I couldn't help but make sure to look her in the eyes as I declared myself the new backyard champion. My wrath continued with the next target on Wildfire's back. He was scheduled to face Corrupt in a championship match for his hardcore title. I got Phil the Drill added to the match, making it a three-way dance, and once again stayed out at ringside to ensure the outcome I wanted.
This is obviously going to be another travesty with the doctor interfering any chance he gets. And sadly for Wildfire champ and Corrupt beyond challengers, this is the no disqualification match. It is hardcore. That means should get he's afraid, and that's why he's not getting in the ring. It has nothing to do with instead of actually wrestling the wrestling match. He's all about looking at it. He's just walking around the ring just like the doctor. He's not actually wrestling. He should be at some sort of male dancing show. Making simple food and then although it's still more fun in the ring, it shows exactly how much of a competitor he is. The last time I think those weren't good descriptors.
It's gonna do something for that man.
Where's your favorite wrestler? That's what he really wants to do. It's probably cheating or hiding under the ring. Apparently the thing telling me something. See how dirty he wrestles. It's dirty because it is honorable. Feel the drill of the doctor that I know the drill about what you are actually is. You know it. I'll tell you what, the doctor, when you feel the drill, it looks like I write on the wrong person. What's the drill? Feel the drill once my attack is behind. I don't believe I've seen him fight face to face. What Corrupt understands the research policy is he takes the man's legs away from him. He can't rightfully wrestle the match. Modified chair shot.
We're up working one match,
Again, still the drill, and more time for the rest of the match. Exactly. We are fighting through this match in the very once again, taking the field. One part of the house again, the drill is so popular, you can feel it, you can take it down. in the second row. He's going for the chair. What is he possibly going to do with that? It's about time. Look at him cowering in fear. The man doesn't actually know anything about wrestling. He only knows cheating and interior design. It doesn't look like Longfire's afraid to feel the drill at all. He's beckoning into the ring. While Phil the drill is thinking about what flavor of monster he'll have after the match. I'm told Phil the drill's favorite monster. That's corrupt turn. Putting him into his two victory competitors. Only did one every day. He's talking around like a black dog. He's getting involved in damn way it should not run. Feel the drill. But the pinfall attempt is broken up by Corrupt.
To spoil that beautiful look like Phil did the like and he would have such little respect for classic old school wrestling.
You've been looking for him outside, man, because I haven't seen a single thing from Phil the Drill that looks anything remotely like Dr. Wrestling Mitchell. The man has cheated, stole, and hidden the entire time in this match.
He's not to win. What up there? Little dog like Corrupt.
I really just like someone from New York to call the excellent goal in the XAW. It's Corrupt once again focusing on Wildfire.
Knowing that he's too young, will Dr. Phil proud.
Close wire and Phil the Drill, man. His nap posture on the other side of the ring.
Dr. Matthew Wayne is trying to win. Work around.
Do you think Phil the Drill actually uses the
DDT to the side. And Phil is unfortunately nailed with the 3 count.
Phil the Drill interpreted my instructions to mean that he could not swing a weapon at an opponent, but dropping one of them onto a weapon wouldn't count against him. He couldn't have been more wrong.
Good job. But the champion I'll send you right back to where you came. Come on. Come on. Again, your new hardcore champion, Dr. Sean Matthews.
Matthews.
What?
I need to have a word with you. Look, you aren't technically breaking the rules of the XAW,
Of course not.
but you're not being very respectful of the titles or of me. And I don't know how much longer I can stand this. You need to learn a little bit of respect.
I don't care what she says. I have the final say so in this organization. As long as I say it's okay, as long as they can continue.
The two-time champion, Dr. Matthews, carrying 2 straps. What a performance. I am absolutely disgusted by the travesty that has happened here tonight. Dr. Matthews has stolen another belt with Phil the Drill and the Orderly. Sing some Take On Me for me, Phil the Drill.
While Mrs. Armstrong decided to make sure I could not force my way into the tag team title match of Rob Anarchy and Deathwish versus Cyber and Azazel, I knew that it was in my best interest to make sure those titles did not change hands. I would once again make my presence known when the time was right.
Bell ringing on action here as Deathwish and Cyber are going to start off this tag team title match for us this evening.
I've seen Deathwish wrestle before, Gorilla, haven't you?
Yes, I have. I've seen him in a series of matches across the American South,
He is pound
in
for
backyards and
pound.
truck stops everywhere.
He is pound for pound the smallest wrestler I've ever seen in my entire life.
But he's mean.
Little known fact, ladies and gentlemen, Cyber weighs 285 pounds, outweighing his opponent by 280.
However, it appears that Deathwish has some more technical savvy in the ring as he drops Cyber with the toe hold, and then immediately begins working his kidneys and his legs.
Deathwish working the knee of Cyber of the tag team champ.
You gotta watch yourself in the match against Deathwish Ninja, because when he punches you, it feels like he's stabbing you.
I can only wonder how much help Rob Anarchy can possibly be in this match. He's already wrestled once tonight in a terrible, brutal match.
Cyber already having difficulty getting up.
Deathwish perched like a vulture.
Deathwish with a show of athleticism. As he picks up Cyber, begins kneeing him in the midsection.
Muay Thai knees. As we get to see a side of Cyber nobody ever dared imagine.
Deathwish was going after Cyber like a spider monkey. And I'm recruiting it. Hitting him profusely about the head and shoulders, but Cyber, the larger opponent, manages to turn the table.
Azazel, sure how he
Do that modified Falcon, that devastating modified Falcon arrow we've seen earlier this evening.
can he possibly move around such a mountain of a man? No,
As Cyber turns him inside out with the clothesline.
Rob Anarchy has yet to be a factor in this match.
Yet, being the operative word, I have a feeling that Rob Anarchy will come into this match and turn the table, because that man is a backyard legend.
Tag team. Classic example of teamwork by Azazel and Cyber.
You called the match that you actually see, or you called the match you see in your head.
Beautiful side slam by Azazel.
Azazel really putting it to Deathwish. Oh, Deathwish manages to hold it off. I think there's something to be said for Deathwish having all of his wins, competing against people that have already competed this evening. That difference of energy is really going to begin to show Ninja as the match goes on.
A pair of 2 counts only for Deathwish. Azazel proves to be too tenacious.
Attacking in Rob Anarchy, who I'm sure wants to take out some of his aggression. Going straight to the top rope. But Azazel manages to kick out.
Only yields a 2.
Rob Anarchy showing very little signs of damage from earlier. He's really putting it to Azazel. Another strong chop across the chest. Azazel's had enough countering. Into a cross power bomb. That is a brutal maneuver. Brutal maneuver, Ninja.
We're 5 minutes into the match and Cyber shows no lack of confidence. Tag partner Azazel seems to have Rob Anarchy on the ropes.
Nonetheless, as I told you earlier, Rob Anarchy, this is how he fights. He soaks the punishment up and then he turns the tables on his competitors.
It would help Rob Anarchy if he soaked up a little sunshine, you think?
I think that you should focus on the match of Cyber. It's tagged in by Azazel and they set up a double team move.
And poor Deathwish has to watch from the
Vicious choke
sideline.
slam. Vicious choke slam.
Cyber showing just how much respect he has for Rob Anarchy. Legs up across the face by the Goliath. Cyber whips Rob Anarchy into the ropes, tying him up in the tree of woe.
You know, Ninja, when you're commentating a match, English sometimes helps. As Deathwish enters into the match, saving his partner, Rob Anarchy from Shogun. God,
The tag is made. Deathwish taking hold of Cyber, setting him up with a possible submission perhaps.
I one time actually saw Deathwish crawl into a large man's mouth and kill him from the inside. You don't see that very often. But Deathwish is that kind of competitor. When he wants to win a match, he wins a match.
Little known fact, Deathwish is invisible when he turns to his side.
Nonetheless, he is in the ring, being worked over by Cyber.
Sidewalk slam. Azazel looking on as his partner has Deathwish under his thumb.
What manner of torture can Cyber possibly have a imagine for Death Wish as he tags in Azazel. Azazel was the silent killer. Silent. Death Wish turning the table. Powerful kick to the face.
Death Wish puts Azazel into the ropes.
Death Wish beating Azazel like Azazel owes him money. As he does the standing moonsault onto Azazel for the 2 count. Nothing passes the careful eyes of referee Sam Hackett.
Rob Anarchy still feeling the effects of his time in the ring with Simon.
Powerful reverse suplex from Death Wish, who tags in his partner Rob Anarchy.
A double team.
One man move high risk to the two of his speed. Very impressive as he plays off of the team of Rob Anarchy and Death Wish.
Flying clothesline. Beautiful move by Rob Anarchy.
Impressive drop kick from Death Wish. Fantastic, Dr. Sean Matthews is the third winner.
Death Wish.
I'm sure he's going to drawing the attention of the backlog.
Suicide dive over the rope. Dr. Matthews takes several punches to the face.
I know I'm supposed to be impartial, Ninja, but I hope that the doctor gets beaten into submission.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a countdown and Simon and Azazel are still
Tag team champions.
While I was not personally available to ensure a particular outcome for the main event due to the beating I took from Rob Anarchy, I could still make arrangements behind the scenes. I forced Crazy into an Asylum Championship title defense, but not just against one opponent. I set up a 4-way battle so that he only had a 25% chance of retaining his championship. Finding volunteers to take the match was fairly simple, even though all 3 challengers had already competed earlier in the evening. Penance, Azazel, and Wildfire still jumped at the chance to win the Asylum Championship title. XAW's competitors might be insane, but they're not stupid.
Crazy entering the ring. All 4 go at it at once. 3 of them in the ring going after Crazy.
wisely taking the out of the picture.
I can't disagree with you right there. Because let me tell you something, Crazy is like a human rock slide. Once he gets started, he doesn't stop. Something unusual to see from these 3 competitors, them teaming up against the much larger Crazy.
Little Irish went by Penance and Azazel. Wildfire being thrown into the big man. And now Azazel actually went by Penance.
And now he's going after Azazel and Wildfire.
The mysterious stranger continues to watch from afar, sizing up his competition.
We're not sure why he's here or what he's here for, but we're assuming that it has something to do with Penance, the current title holder.
He's all part of
That's crazy.
What? Am I through recording now?
Plan of evil. Penance has the man Crazy on the match. On that.
I'm not sure. Just keep going and see what happens.
3 submissions being applied simultaneously by
She with it. Back to the action in the ring. Azazel sizing up Wildfire for a second. While outside, Crazy has the full Nelson applied to the chin. Azazel going for the pin. 2 count. I'm informed, tries to get back to his feet. Penance with a drop kick to his Azazel's midsection. That's crazy. He's finally back to his feet and focuses his attention on one. A very impressive move from a large man, Enziguri. Azazel breaking the pin with the foot on the rope.
Crazy with me. Impressive by such a limited performer. If only Crazy had a pistol, acuity to take advantage of this extremely physical. Cover on the table. You can only get a two.
The fortitude represented by these men tonight is unimaginable. Having been involved in fire matches. Penance with a drop kick to Crazy's knee.
Both Penance and Wildfire trying to take Crazy's legs out from underneath. Two rolling shots. Do you have any predictions for the match?
I don't know. All
Even sided so far.
yes, all four competitors look fairly evenly matched. Actually, I wonder if Penance is the only competitor on his feet with an elbow to the back of the shoulders of Crazy.
Azazel unconscious in the corner.
Wildfire barely able to get back to his feet.
Can he capitalize? Take to his feet.
Strong belly to belly.
Belly to belly by Penance. Wildfire.
Crazy with his own belly to belly on the champ. Azazel still stirring, not quite able to regain full consciousness.
Crazy. Can Crazy capitalize on this belly to belly?
I don't know if he can. It appears the only one that has gotten back to his feet just yet is Wildfire. I tell you, this match has been an amazing battle. Just the 2 counts. We almost saw the end of the match.
Penance goes for a cover broken up by Azazel. Wildfire. Breaks up one by Azazel. Azazel clearly frustrated.
Quite understandable. Any kind of match in which there are more than the traditional 2 competitors can get quite frustrating for all involved. Back in my days wrestling in Cambodia, frequently we couldn't afford to pay individual competitors for single matches. The Fatal 4-Way actually born in Cambodia, little known fact. So it was often difficult to win one of those matches. Always very painful and frustrating for all. Azazel with a very authoritative suplex on Wildfire. As Penance and Crazy fight outside the ring. The General getting involved, breaking up the pin.
Crazy feeling the effects. The General and Penance teaming up on him.
There has been a lot of attention focused on Crazy this evening, perhaps because he's the most physically imposing. Now, face buster on Azazel by Penance. Will Penance be able to make the cover?
1, 2.
I'm not sure, but apparently Wildfire had something to do with breaking up the pin attempt on by Penance.
Falcon's arrow by Penance on Azazel.
Always a devastating and impressive move. Penance wins! Penance wins!
Cyber has something to say.
What's wrong with you? This isn't the Azazel that I met. This is the 3rd time that I've gotten you in a sock.
Crazy attempted to stop the pinfall on Azazel, but couldn't make it on time, thus losing the Asylum Championship title to Penance. Cyber was upset that Azazel took the loss, creating conflict within their team for the first time. Then, while Penance was still celebrating his victory, a new challenger arrived on the scene. Azrael would make his intentions known as the night came to an end, and by that time the entire roster had felt the impact of my wrath. Next time on Xtreme Asylum Wrestling, while the landscape has changed due to my wrathful manipulation, the brutal action will continue as the XAW wrestlers fight for respect, power, and championships. The insanity of battle is far from over.